Dan Shine has just come in the room, was the head of the committee, the 1A selection committee, and of course we'll probably wrap things up with the one and only in the slot, Jim Clark, when he gets off the phone. His phone line has been burning, and I'm sure his Twitter account has been burning, and he is the guru, and it'd be great to talk with him. But right now, I think coming in,
right now we're going to have Dan Shine join us, and
who always getting ready for interviews, always says, "Do you want to do something? Do you want to do something?" So,
it held Richard, it'll hold me.
Coach Shine, wearing your other hat today.
Many hats.
So
the microphone is for you there,
1A committee chairperson.
I guess, yeah.
And lots going on.
I'm glad it's over.
Well,
there's always a few tense moments prior to, you know?
Yeah, just a little bit after one, so we did all right.
I don't think there were as many tense moments today as people thought there might be.
Well, I think most people kind of had a good feel for the top 5 or 6, and I think there was probably another, 7 or 8 teams that were in the mix for 6 or 7 through 10 or 12. And
correct.
I think we're fortunate. We've got a lot of good teams and a lot of interest to be a participant.
Yeah, and it's almost
that great thing.
Absolutely, and really the way kind of the last 2 weeks on the ice played out, kind of took a lot of that gray area out of the mix.
Yes, and you're hoping that last 2 weeks is a factor. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of tournaments the last week.
Yeah, more than they have
been. And there's a lot of teams that are, trying to get someone to notice them. So you either bring your A game or you're out. Really, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, it does. I guess the X factors are strength of schedule. Does a game around Christmas count the same as a game last week? Were players missing? Does that come into the mix? And there's so many other little factors, but I think all of those kind of play into each committee member takes a little bit different percentage in their head, and they come to a consensus.
Yeah, I think there's always a lot of talk about strength of schedule, and strength of league, and how we determine that. I think that's really a personal thing on how each individual feels about a league and strength of schedule, and how much a league champion should factor into it. Pending, how strong the league is. So that always kicks back to that. So, and that's difficult to determine.
Very difficult.
A lot of subjective matter.
Absolutely.
But a lot more information out there these days too, though, to allow some of the committee members to roll down into the weeds of who beat who and what the scores and the outcomes were.
Right. And having the websites we have access to today, really helps a lot. In the old days, and I say going back maybe. This is our 27th tournament. In the first 5 to 10 years, I mean, we were here for 4 or 5 hours doing what we did today in probably an hour and 10 minutes. And we had stacks of paper in front of everyone.
Pencil sharpeners.
And looking for
different colored paper.
and looking for information that we thought could help us make the decision. So times have changed. There's no question. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, and I've been down here for 9 years now with the program and things like that, and the rosters and all that, and things do change. And it does seem a lot more seamless now. And hopefully, Paul was talking a lot about the transparency of being able to go live with things like this, and so people can hear firsthand what actually goes on down here in Franklin, not only from a seating standpoint or scheduling or ADs trying to get ice and things like that. So when you talk a little bit about that, I think we got a doubleheader actually in Arlington, right?
I just found that out actually, that they're going to try it and see how it works. Parking's an issue, but I hope that'll work out.
Yeah. Well,
if you put the right teams in there, it'll work.
Yeah, 3 things based on the 1A committee meeting. And we've tried to explain earlier that the coach's recommendation is given as it's sort of like, here's our slate.
Right.
And the committee weighs that pretty strongly, but not exclusively. So the 3 areas this year I think that people were most concerned with were, everybody knew BC High was going to come in as the 1. The next 3 teams everybody knew were 2, 3, and 4, but they didn't know if they were 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So that discussion, Burlington was pretty well set, and AP was mentioned by most people. And then, as you said, 7, 8, 9, really 6 through 10 could have been 5 teams from among 8 or 10 teams. So you know, we're not going to be here all day, but tell us a little bit about how those 3 areas broke down.
Well, I think the first area, the top 4, if we can use that,
Yeah.
those 4 schools play the toughest schedules across the state. They're in 3 out of the 4 are in the strongest league, the Catholic Conference, and then Pope Francis, you know, is an independent school in a sense, and they go out and just build a schedule, and they shy away from no one. I think most people consider them in the same category as the teams out of the Catholic Conference. And then you have the Catholic Central League, which is the co-ed Catholic League, and that's where Austin Prep lies. And they also play a very healthy non-league schedule.
They do.
They play in a couple of tournaments. They play in the Christy Sereno tournament that Malden Catholic runs during the holidays, and then they go to the Cape Cod Classic as well, which is always you know, a tournament that I think most people that are looking at the 1A tournament are looking at those schools down there.
Absolutely.
And this year Reading entered that. Waltham took a year off, and I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but Reading filled in that void. So that probably helped Reading a little bit.
Definitely helped Reading like it did Duxbury.
Right, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So because that, not only is that a difficult tournament with very competitive schools, I think what it does is there's travel involved, and it's 3 trips from the Boston area down there. That takes a lot out of your club as well. So you're playing a tournament, and you're playing healthy competition. You're traveling 90 miles to get there. So I think people look at that as something that should be considered. And then when you get to you have the Middlesex League schools that, that was an extremely competitive league this year. They had 3 or 4 schools that were in the mix, including Winchester, and I believe 3 made the cut.
Made the cut,
correct.
yeah.
Bring it in, and some would say Woburn might have.
Woburn could have been a team. I think Woburn lost to Burlington the other night. That probably hurt them a little bit. And then Winchester, although a league champion, and that hasn't happened too often that a league champion hasn't made it, but they just didn't seem to get the votes. So, the Middlesex League is a very healthy league and very strong competitive teams. They kind of knock each other off all year long, so I think they get a lot of credibility. And then you have the mixed bag at the end that Hingham squeaked in. Their win over St. Mary's in the last week, I think, was huge for them.
Yeah,
I think if they lose that game, they're out.
Yep.
And I think St. Mary's probably in.
Yep.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how close that came.
And so, and then there was a few other clubs, like you mentioned Woburn. There was there's Framingham, Braintree. There was talk about Braintree. So
St. Mary's.
And St. Mary's as well.
And St. Mary's. If anybody, I think, might have got the short end of things in this selection process this year, I think St. Mary's may have been. I mean, we played them twice.
Right.
I know how good they are,
They're good.
and they play an extremely strong schedule. They somehow that just didn't resonate with the committees. Both committees, coaches or our MIA committee.
Well, I think the PR machine that's out there, and I say that in a good way, for some teams historically, it's not there for St. Mary's, and they've always played in the shadow of your club and Austin Prep in your league, even Archbishop Williams for some years.
Right.
So they're sort of new on the block, but you're right. Their first 5 are as good as a lot of teams that are in there.
Absolutely, and I think that's what this tournament comes down to. I think you could interchange 3, 4, 5 teams and not miss a beat.
Yeah, and the other thing, St. Mary's, they were 5-4 over their last 9.
Right.
Granted, the schedule was loaded, but that.
But you have to win some of those games.
You look at them, and you look at Arlington, 8-0-1 over the last 9.
Right.
There it is on paper.
Right.
So.
Well, it's a good lead into the Division I North, right? Where you will be, and St.
Yeah,
Mary's,
put your coaching hat back on.
And all the others that we just talked about. That did, boy, what a stacked D1 North.
That's a great
and of course, either Arlington, Reading, Central Catholic could also.
Enter the fray.
Enter the fray. So, you made it to the finals last year. St. Mary's might take on the same attitude that Hingham took, right?
D1 North champ.
Yeah,
made it to the
D1
finals.
North champ,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the Division I North tournament is going to be really a special tournament. I think on a given night, any team
there's not a
can beat
gimme
any.
on the-
There
on
isn't
the
a
card.
gimme game. I don't think
No.
there's a gimme game, and I think you know. I hope that they can find facilities to put some of those games in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could
They're gonna
be some
be
great doubleheaders.
Last year, you know, we were fortunate enough to get to the finals and at the Garden, and I mean, every game the places were jammed and moving. They were holding people over in the gymnasium behind the stands
Right. I remember it.
Between
to
games,
try to
yeah.
get space available to move people in for the next game.
How about the night at
Fortunately,
Chelmsford when you guys played Arlington?
No,
What a night
Saugus.
that was.
Saugus. It's Saugus, yeah.
Saugus, I mean,
Which thank God was at Saugus.
Yeah,
right?
that was a special night. There's no question about that, and
Right.
that was a lot of fun.
Hometown rivalry.
Playing you know, we're about an eighth of a mile between the two schools, and you know, we've developed a great relationship between the two schools. It's something we've all worked at pretty hard. So hey, you know, if they don't succeed in the playing game, I'm sure we'll be back at it again.
That's
You
true.
know,
Well, may
if-
see a
you know,
rematch.
That's right.
true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We didn't all the different scenarios
Yeah,
flying about.
yeah.
I didn't even think of that one, but
Yeah.
yeah, that could happen. And
Yeah.
so D1 North might kick off maybe a Thursday night or Friday
Wednesday.
night? Wednesday.
I'm
night.
told Wednesday. Most teams will play Wednesday.
Okay.
And you know, the playing games are Monday, so I think it'll be probably Wednesday, Saturday for Division I North.
Sure.
You know, and you know, I'm not sure what the South looks like. I didn't really get a chance to look at that, but
That's gonna be a tough
but that'll
bracket
be
as
tough.
well.
You know,
Yeah, it's not as muddled as the North right now
Right.
because you get three wild cards there. But yeah, I mean, boy, we had Coach Spear on, and you know, obviously Framingham is sitting, you know, towards the top of that one,
Right.
and in Marshfield and Braintree and Walpole, you go up and down the. So Division I, well represented in the North and the South,
Right.
and past couple of years, it just you know, it's worked out that way too.
Yeah.
It's been those finals have just been phenomenal,
Right.
both on the South and
the one thing getting back to the North, I'm not sure seeds make any difference in the North.
No.
You're going to have
No.
to play everybody to get there anyway.
Right,
And they're
right.
all the teams are so close.
Yeah.
You know, and so competitive and talented. So, you know, I know that the teams that kick back from the play-in game, they get the 1 and 2 seed, but
Right.
I'm not sure it's going to make any difference one way or the other.
No.
You know, it didn't last. Certainly didn't last
Didn't
year.
last year.
No,
That's
last
right.
year
Certainly
was
didn't
Spot
last
on.
year.
Right.
You still got to come play the game.
You do.
That's
you
right,
do.
you know.
And you're going to see quality opponents at any level now that you're in the tournament. So, so we appreciate all that you do, and
Hey,
thank you for
thank
coming
you.
on. Yeah.
Fun time of year.
It is, isn't it? It's really a special time of the year, and the hockey fraternity, as you two guys know, it is really special people, and you know, we go head to head and battle over different issues, but at the end of the day, everybody comes out, you know, as friends, and I think this tournament has been a great thing to build the camaraderie in the sport, and I think as a result of that, hockey's really a special sport, you know.
It is.
You know,
It is.
for everyone involved, kids,
Absolutely.
coaches, schools. It certainly brings out the best in our student athletes.
And thanks for everything you do, chairing the committee and
Thank
all
you.
the extra stuff
Yeah,
you do
it's fun,
behind
though.
the scenes, Dan.
Been doing it a long time.
Jumping
and,
into Mini
you know,
Coopers on the fly for
That's
us.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah,
So,
yeah, and,
many hats.
it's. I enjoy doing it.
Good.
A lot of fun.
Good.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank
Coach
you.
Dan
Good
Shine
seeing you.
from
Yeah, and
Arlington
athletic
Catholic,
director
the
and
chairman
coach.
of the committee, the 1A selection committee, joining us here from Franklin, the MIAA headquarters, and it's been a great day. We're close to wrapping up, but we thank Coach Shine for having us in here, and good luck in the tournament.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we're gonna
Thanks
we're
again.
gonna have
Thank you again. We'll
Jim.
see you up,
Thanks. Yeah, we'll see you Monday night.
See you Monday night.
You're going to be up there?
Yeah, we'll be up there Monday night. We'll be live from the Chelmsford Forum on Monday night, and we'll have both games. First one going off at 6 o'clock between Arlington and Hingham, and then 8 o'clock with Reading and Central Catholic. And again, that'll be in partnership with NFHS TV, so you'll be able to link directly from MyHockeyLive for that, and also from the MIA.net website. So 2 ways to get to the NFHS
You ready?
TV, and then of course you can just
Come on.
stv.com.